Today I wanted to expand on the same subject I was expanding yesterday. Feeling incompletion with incompletions. You should not have incompletion with anything. If at all you really feel too attached to incompletion, feel incompletion with your incompletion. Please understand, you should not feel incompletion with anything. If at all you are really incomplete, you are too attached to incompletion, then feel incomplete with your incompletion itself. Not living with incompletion, and especially completing with some of the root cognitions you have. Please understand, when I use the word root cognitions, I wanted you to understand few things. See, even while you complete, while you look into you and work on you, you will have some root incompletions or root ideas. For example, sometime you may have the idea, how much ever you complete, your incompletions are going to continuously come again and again. I have seen sometime people having, if I complete this way, it may take next 2 years for me to completely complete. Or I may take 12 years for me to completely complete. Or no, I may never complete. Some of these root cognitions you carry inside you. Please listen. These root cognitions only carry self-doubt inside them as a form of seed. Little more listening will actually make you understand everything this very moment. Little more listening can actually make you understand everything this very moment. I can give you one example. As a root cognition, I had very clear understanding, nothing can ultimately corrupt our consciousness. So whenever, even when I need to do spiritual practices in my young age, when I turn inside me and try to bring myself to the space of completion, those days I did not know this word completion, but I know the space of feeling the presence of divine or fulfillment. Whenever I turn inside and work, I always had a very deep cognition, root cognition, that the consciousness can never be touched. It remains untouched, pure. Please listen. That is why when I actually experienced enlightenment, I did not feel anything new. I just came to the original cognition of my existence. The original cognition of my existence. Sometimes you guys feel a strong cognition that how much ever you complete, the incompletions are going to constantly come up. How many of you have this kind of a wrong, strong cognitions? This root cognitions is what I call self-doubt. Please listen. This root cognitions is what I call self-doubt. Completing with these root cognitions. I can't believe only few people have that wrong root cognitions. I think this shows most of you have not listened or not participating. Let me explain once more. The definition of root cognition, listen. This is one of the important revelation I had just today morning. I wanted to share with all of you. Few days before, in this reality show, few Christians have come to solve their problems. When I was talking to them, when they were sharing their problem, suddenly the guy said, all right, if this doesn't get solved in this Janma, in the next Janma I will come back, it will be solved, I will sort it out. I was just shocked, because he is a Christian. How is he talking about the next birth, next Janma, Punarjanma? I looked deep and asked him more questions. His root cognition continues to be Hindu. He believes in karma, he believes in Punarjanma, he believes in incarnation. All the major root cognitions are same. Bread and butter can only change the name and the way you look, not the root cognition. Please understand, he does not even understand. He is not supposed to have that cognition as a Christian. So he still thinks, plans his life, strategizes everything based on clearly the Hindu root cognition. Now all of you understand the definition of root cognition? Please listen, I will just define once more. Somebody, one person raised, they did not understand. I will define, because this is a very important principle you need to understand. If you catch this one principle, many of your problems can be solved. Listen. Root cognition is the mental pattern which drives your thinking before even you recognize the quality of your thinking. It is like you start thinking, yes, I have suffering. I need to complete with it. I need to get out. Before that itself, there is a root cognition. Suffering is either part of my life or full of my life. See, before you start solving any problem, root cognition only sets the base of the war field. Root cognition sets the line of actual control, where the fight starts. So between two countries, the line of actual control is the space where the fight starts. Means from that spot only, both try to create dispute. No, little this side. No, little that side. But there is a line. From that line, the fight starts between this and that. Same way, the root cognition is the line where the fight between you and your life starts. Sometime I have seen people have the root cognition, their life is depressed. Their life is nothing can be done. Means their life is depression, nothing can be done. Wrong root cognition. That's why I tell them, go and stay with the Kaveri and get healed and come. Please catch this principle of root cognition. Basically, what you strongly believe as you is root cognition. What you strongly believe as you. Please understand. What you strongly believe as you. I can say this word Ananda Gandha in Sanskrit, the smell of your being, The smell of your being is root cognition. Whether your Anandagandha is bloomed, free, blossomed, or shrunk, caught, bound, is dependent on your root cognition. Somehow, fortunately, my teachers, my masters who brought me up, they inserted some of very strong root cognitions into me. Your consciousness can never be bound. Your consciousness can never be incomplete. Your consciousness can never be corrupt. Any corruption, any incompletion, any suffering is only for body and mind. Because of this strong root cognition, I never went through any suffering. Never went through any incompletion. See, for example, if you have diarrhea, if you have a toothache, how you handle it? Oh, there is a problem. Let me attend to it. Or if your neighbor is screaming, there is a fight, then how you handle it? There is a problem. Let me attend to it. I tell you, that is exactly the way I attended everything related to life. Never I felt I have toothache. Never I felt I have diarrhea. Please listen, there is a difference. When the neighbor is screaming, you say there is a problem. When there is a toothache, you say I have a tooth pain. There is a difference. Actually, I am giving two different examples. Earlier I missed one line to separate these two. When a neighbor is screaming, you handle it. Yes, there is a problem, let me attend. You don't feel you have a problem. But when your teeth has pain, when you have a diarrhea, you feel you have a problem. Your association with the problem decides whether you are going to solve it or not. Please understand. The root cognition you carry about any problem decides the end of the problem, whether it is going to end or not. When a neighbor is shouting, your root cognition is, there is a problem, let me attend. When you have diarrhea, your root cognition is, I have diarrhea, I have to attend. I tell you, in my whole life, I never had a cognition of associating any physical or mental, any problem onto me, because as a root cognition, I was clear, my consciousness cannot have any attributes. It cannot have suffering. It cannot have ignorance. It cannot have depression. Please understand, completing with the root cognition is completing with self-doubt. Listen. Yesterday I was speaking about completion with self-doubt. Today I am expanding. What is exactly completion with self-doubt? How the root cognition puts us in bondage or leads us to liberation. If you have a wrong root cognition about the maths, the moment you see number, you will feel like your head is reeling. If you have the wrong root cognition about people, the moment you see people in your life in any form, whether as a boss or a husband or a wife or a daughter or a son or brother, you are already agitated. You are in incompletion. If you look inside and spend just 48 hours on recognizing your root cognitions, smelling them and completing with them, I tell you, it will be equivalent to one full inner awakening. Just 48 hours sit with you, smell all these root cognitions with which you are suffering. Root cognitions, I can use another word, fundamental beliefs you carry about you. In your fundamental belief, if you feel you can't get out of depression, your life is never going to be pleasant, your life is never going to be blissful, please understand, you will never experience joy, bliss, completion, because the fundamental belief has to be completed. If you have not conquered the line of control, even go and conquer some city inside, you will have only bits and pieces of that country. From the line of control, you have to conquer everything. Same way, even if you try to solve one or two problems, without completing the fundamental belief and the root cognition, you will not be complete. Completing the fundamental beliefs, I tell you, please understand, having the right fundamental root cognitions is life of enlightenment, and giving you the fundamental beliefs rightly and right root cognitions is the job of Gurukul. Gurukul is nothing but giving you the fundamental right cognition. Please understand, I still remember in the young age, I am just describing the incident exactly as it happened. I went to see a sadhu in Tiruvannamalai temple. He is highly respected in that area for his powers and ability to cure people who are possessed by evil spirits and ghosts and bhutas, demons. So when I went there, I saw one middle-aged lady possessed by spirit, ghosts, was brought by our family to this sadhu. This sadhu was sitting and casually chatting with that lady, and that lady is telling all sorts of informations unknown, which can never be known by her. This sadhu is sitting and asking, that lady is from some place around 100 kilometers away. This sadhu is sitting and casually talking to her. Means that ghost asking, hey, who is the fellow who stole yesterday the jewelry from the temple? That fellow is answering, that ghost is answering. This fellow only stolen, he has kept that jewelry in this house, you please go and get it. Actually, instead of driving that ghost away, this fellow is sitting and having an interview. This sadhu is having an interview with that ghost. Around half an hour he was having interview like this, collecting all the informations which he wants to have. Then finally he says, come on, now you have to leave our body. Tell me what do you want. And this ghost said, give me some parihara, he said, give me rice and goat, some sacrifice and all that. This sadhu said, animal sacrifice I won't give, I'll give you only rice. And the negotiation started. No, it was literally like a business deal. And then after 10 minutes, the sadhu convinced that ghost, this fellow has to go away. This ghost has to leave that lady's body after taking the rice. Rice is the only bargain. The sadhu has said, I will not give you any animal sacrifice. Go with the rice. Then they brought the rice, cooked rice and made like a dal, almost like that lady. And that sadhu said, come on, now take this and go. Please understand, I am not lying. I am not spreading any superstition. I am responsible for what I am talking. In front of my eyes, that ghost disappeared with the whole pot. The whole pot disappeared. The pot was not there. And that lady became all right. I was shocked. Shocked, one thing, and shaken. Because all these days I never heard about ghost. I never heard about the power of ghost. I was shaken. And immediately I ran to Yogi Ramswarup Kumar, a great sadhu, a Paramahamsa, lived in Thiruvannamalai. I can say, literally I can't even describe with the right words the relationship I cherished with him. It was like a love, respect, friendliness, feeling secured, all put together. A real feeling connection. I had the fortune of cherishing that kind of a relationship with him. I tell you, in the young age, if you had this kind of relationship with one person, that is the greatest asset you can have in your life. Especially a Paramahamsa who can give you the right root cognitions. I ran to him because he always lives in cremation ground. Unfortunately, I had such a love for him. I ran and caught hold of he used to wear a garland of ropes. I caught hold of his rope. That's the way I used to talk to him. How in the energization I catch the people mala and pull them nearer. Exactly that is the way I used to pull his rope. I pulled his rope and said, Swamiji, this is what I saw. That sadhu was driving the ghost away. And suddenly the whole pot disappeared with the rice. When the ghost left, he did not bother about it. He was okay. He will speak in broken Tamil and broken Hindi. He is originally from Varanasi, just near Varanasi, some village. So he will speak in broken Hindi and broken Tamil. He was listening. Because what I was explaining was not a matter of concern, but suddenly I broke my fear to him. I told him, how can I save myself from being possessed by these ghosts? Will you save me if the ghost comes? He just laughed and just made two statements, I tell you. Just two statements. He said, Beta means I think that how you call the kids. I still remember one or two Hindi words used, but he will use broken Tamil words. He said, Beta, he just put his hand on my shoulder and said, Beta, all these are only our own broken unconscious projection. He told in Tamil, our own inner mind, when it is broken from us, only gets projected like that. If you don't allow any of your parts broken, the ghost cannot take over that broken parts. Only if you leave some broken parts of you unattended, ghost can take over you, take over that part. Then he gave the example. In your house, if there are 10 rooms, if you are using all the 10 rooms, ghost cannot come and live there. If you don't use at all some 4 rooms, and you don't go there at all ever, then ghost will start coming and living. So, always have awareness about all parts of your body, mind, spirit, emotion, then no ghost will possess you. Please understand, I tell you, that word entered into me so strongly and became my root cognition. After that, I never ever had any fear of unknown. Please listen. Please understand. If you see in front of your eyes pot full of rice disappearing, can anybody remove the fear of ghost from you? But his words, just the 2 words, my love for him and the words he uttered, actually the credit goes to his behavior. He was such a raw man, such raw beauty, not at all polished, not at all socially polite. He will just take a stone and throw at you if he is angry. No, that raw behavior as authenticity. When somebody is raw, your unconscious, your inner space just feels connected to him. I have seen his raw behavior as authenticity. It carries so much of compassion, carries so much of raw love. See, there is something called cooked love. Cooked as per the social norms. Smile. How are you? I miss you. I love you. Oh, where did you go? I was all the time remembering about you. Sending a get well card. Socially cooked love. Love cooked as per the social norms. I really wonder sometimes when these guys all the time call and tell their wives, I miss you dear, how are you? And the moment they drop the cell phone, I see the relief in their face. I ask them, why do you guys call constantly and tell lies? No, otherwise when you go to the house, you don't know what will happen. The socially cooked love loses its authenticity. But this master's love is a raw, authentic love. You see, with that rawness, even few words he utters becomes your root cognition. With a socially cooked love, how many big teachings you give, that only becomes the subject of debate in your inner space. Whether your master's words becomes your root cognition or subject of debate for you inside you. That decides your enlightenment or completion. Please understand, whether your master's words are straight entering into you and becoming the root cognition in you, or it is subject of debate for you. I tell you, I was fortunate enough to have so many of these things aligned. One, the innocent village bringing up. Second, amazing raw energy masters. who do not know socially cooked love. I was so fortunate. The moment Ram Surat Kumar uttered that words, if you leave your unconscious parts unattended, only that parts will be possessed by ghosts. Don't worry. Have consciousness about what you think, what you feel, what you speak on your body. Nothing like this can possess you. That's it. That became my root cognition. It is not that after that I struggled to practice that. Whenever the thought of ghost fear came, this automatically came up. I have the whole thing of me in my control. How can ghost possess me? The thought died. After a few times, the thought itself did not come. Fear of ghost. Now I think all of you can understand what I mean by the word root cognition.